try to understand mental health. You are, let's say, a boss or a manager, the people, one of your juniors working out, and I'm going to see a dentist. Chances are, but if my colleague here, Miss Mwelwa, tells you to say, I'm not going to make it because, chances are that you're going to look at that as laziness. Things we look at. So
Yeah.
it's one of the three components that make a leg with a toothache. This. In fact, if there's something that things that you may not even see, I'm having something that is helping, things like that. But with mental health, you can be smiling.
We always look for physical
invisible, but that does not necessarily make them. Answering your question, we need to sympathize. The only way you can rule out, a professional psychologist, determining whether somebody is just pretending, whether
the number that is showing on the screen. We are discussing the relation, and that is the question we are tackling this afternoon. Coming to you, Madam.
I think we need to talk people making it known that they have certain mental health conditions because, like he said, most people both very much matter the same way that the other.
Let me now narrow it down to Zambia.
Maybe let me help her.
Sure.
Okay.
I don't think it just should be 2019, but of course, even somebody who doesn't do a lot of sensitization. Okay, adverts. This it was all over social media. It was all. So I think So I think media is not doing much. So I look forward to in the media spoke 6 months from now, 8 months from now, 1 year from having suicide prevention awareness. In October, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So it should move from just like he was on board, so that they make our content on in the media policy of different media stations or media short clip or something.
How can we navigate conversations about mental health with loved ones? Have people that are facing these challenges in the actual sense.
So being in denial is characterized by negativity or the issue they are going through being brought to. I want to talk about that person. So your brother. Now that's the character. Those are the characteristics of denial. Now, being denial is because of the stigma. Today, if you're in an argument with somebody will tell you to say our language. In our case, obviously you're gonna be offended, right? The next time you read in our homesteads with them. The challenge we make will just respect their boundaries. If they feel unsympathizing or empathizing with them, okay. This is how we should be having this conversation.
Africans, let me end there. Have a challenge, health issues or challenges. We always, facility. When they hear that, they feel like they're having the right conversation with these people can really help. And I'm happy because we have these people. Coming to you, Madam, because I know the way a person that is health will be different. And of course, help even as well.
It's important to, especially to them, because maybe they and all the conditions, talking to them more in a safe space for people to.
I'm more passionate about spent it in the rural, and I've seen a good number of limitations on the part of those who may, among people with a limited amount. So what I've noticed is when a good number of people have got faith, but most people, because they says are that you begin mystifying it.
Yeah.
This and that, those kind of things.
You start playing in.
Just like she's saying. I know, of course, sometimes this terminology, the same way you can have, mood swings, you can't.
Yeah. I like the point. It is very easy for you to even spread wrong information to other people. So now, do you think there is need for us to integrate when we have children, of course?
Says society, there are three things: backgrounds or religious circles. Okay, or church or religious beliefs, dogmas. Number two, the chawas, and the third one, live by. Chances are that they come from either of the three. It therefore.
So what is this? What are the symptoms? And then we end there. Yeah. Maybe just to move on. What could be some of the strategies, that we can use to address mental health stigma and promoting positive language? Ms. Mwelo, you mentioned in your submission about, stigma and the need for us to have the conversations so that people can be,
Of course, people that they can talk to about certain issues affecting them as well. And I feel like it's important to implement these strategies also in the educational system, the same way they maybe focus on teaching certain things in school. They can try implementing more topics about mental health, more subjects even that talk more about educating students about mental health and mental health issues.
Definitely. Yes. So it's still going back to the same point, integrating the mental health, aspect into the education system, which is very prominent and very important. Yeah, I know, Mr. Chama, you're that person that you're just too much when it comes to information. So even when she was explaining, I was looking at you, trying to come in and just maybe throw in one point or the other. I'd like you to speak to the point of positive language. How can we promote positive language, even as we talk about mental health conversations? Or we have these mental health conversations.
Okay, so we can never detach mental health or the mental health fight from our socialization.
Yeah.
So we need to get back to the drawing board, all right, and ask ourselves what in our language is offensive or has potential of causing or exacerbating stigma, all right? What in our day-to-day language? So, for example, I've just told you about the way we use the word Chainama. So, from now onwards, for people who are watching us, our request will be: if you get into a fight with someone, even if you're upset, avoid referring to them as a Chainama case. All right. There's some phrases, some words, some sentences we use in our day-to-day languages that speech that amount to promoting stigma. All right, so it's not right. You differ with somebody, you're not normal. You're mad. No, you're a mental case. I think we need to promote that. Then the other thing which I want to say, just like I said, we can never divorce our socialization from the mental health. In our mental health fight, we can never divorce it. Now, here's what I'm trying to say. Even in our local, in fact, if there is a place where this speech, stigmatization exists a lot, it's in our local language. Because I'll ask you, even you where you are there, how would you define mental health in your language? I don't know what your mother tongue is, but whichever, because I'm quite gifted. I speak Tonga, Bemba, Lozi, Nyanja. I speak most Zambian languages. So how would you define mental?
It's on sport, but anyway.
Yeah. So now most of these languages, they would go. The way you would make somebody understand, it has a connotation of, describing somebody as mad. Okay. For example, in Bemba, they would say something like "Ubulwele bwa kupena," things like that. So we need to, of course, I'm not saying the alternatives are already there. We also need to become creative. How is it that I can help you understand depression? Can I help you understand psychosis? Can I help you understand bipolar without making you fearful? We need to be creative. Okay? Of course, we know to say when you are translating words from English to our local language, it's not always about direct translation. Sometimes about description. Okay, come up with a description that will be user-friendly. So the person will know to say, okay, this person is actually describing depression without necessarily making them feel fearful or making them feel stigmatized or, creating some kind of discrimination of some sort.
With that explanation, of course, you're answering my next question because I was really thinking.
Okay.
I was really thinking about the people that are actually facing mental health issues. Mm-hmm. When we're having these conversations, what are some of the things that they find triggering? Like, for instance, if I'm talking about mental health, let's say depression, what are some of the terms that I can use that will have a negative effect on someone that is, battling depression? And I wanted you to come in just to provide some of the, strategies that we can use, even as we have these conversations as media. How can we avoid using these, very sensitive terminologies or terms that can trigger, mental health issues?
So number one, I would want to say it comes back to issues of education. Okay, get the right information so that you know how to say things in a way that is user friendly. Okay, just like I've said, issues of sadness. Let's reach a point of understanding that sadness has a lot of connotation. Okay, issues of mood. I remember growing up, what I used to hear a lot about, moods was anything about moods was negative. No, this person is moody. I don't like that person because he's moody, this and that. All right. Others would say, no, that one is lazy. But you see, the so-called being moody could be an indication, one of the symptoms of depression. Okay, mood swings. Okay, or bipolar.
Yeah.
Okay, laziness could be. I'm not saying every laziness is depression. I'm not saying that. But when somebody, let's say, is failing to get out of bed, it's not always that they are lazy. Okay, they can't get out of bed because they don't have that energy.
They're losing interest in maybe
yes, they're losing interest in things they love to do. Those are symptoms of depression. Yeah. So when we reach a point, that's the reason why I'm saying let's equip ourselves with knowledge. And how that can happen is when we make the mental health conversations a lifestyle, not an event. So even on this platform, I'm requesting that keep on calling professionals to talk about this, so that at the end of the year, you will know to say, when you see this among people at home, chances, of course, you're not going to diagnose because you're not a professional, but chances are that this person could be battling with one or two mental health challenges. Okay, similarly, I would want to appeal. I'm not so sure about. I'm not a journalist or a media personnel, but I feel like in a way sometimes the media out there has promoted stigma to some extent. Okay, the way we want to cover, we're so obsessed with negative news. Okay, there's so much good out there to report on, but we're so obsessed to report about negativity. And when that thing is reported, it goes viral, it becomes trending, and people are sharing this and that. I don't know how we can help each other, but I feel that's something we need to address in a way. We need to address that. We need to realize that certain things that, there are people who fail actually to move on. They fail to heal because they don't know how they can delete that from your social media pages for your organization or from people's minds because you reported it already. Yeah. Yeah, so media should help us in that regard.
Wonderful. So even the way we structure the information, what kind of information we put out there, to the public also matters. I hope you've been watching, and my fellow journalists, this is a call to us. We need to change the conversations that we're having about mental health. Let's have the right conversations. This also starts with the news that we are collecting, the news that we are publishing. What is it that we're talking about? Are we just talking about the negative part of mental health? And actually, mental health is not even bad, but we normally think of it as a bad thing. Like you said, mental health is basically the overall well-being of an individual. Mm-hmm. So physically, emotionally, socially, those things. Yeah. I would like to, close on this note. What role can social media play in promoting positive mental health conversation? In my introduction, I mentioned a lot of conversations on social media, and it's very difficult for somebody to even say, is this the right conversation or this is the right conversation? Not. It's very difficult for us to tell. So how can we now, or what is the role that social media play in promoting?
My point is, let's use social media. Wisely. What you say on social media, do not think it just ends on your platform. It goes in the mind of the person you've taught. It goes in the heart of the person you've taught. If you've told them you look ugly, you body shame them. Do not think it just ends there. And these people follow. Even the so-called celebrities. I've seen celebrities cry, complain.
Yeah.
Okay, and just because some don't complain, don't think it doesn't affect them.
Mr. Chairman, on the issue of cyberbullying, I think we have a law in place, which is, the Cyber Law Act. And of course, even in the presence of that law, we still have people complain about cyberbullying and other crimes that can be done online. Does this call for the restructuring of the law that we have currently, or perhaps we need to have better ways of implementing the law?
Okay, the US has got very strong laws against drug use or drug abuse, but has that helped their levels of drug abuse? I don't know if you're getting what I mean. The US has got very strong laws against drug abuse, but has that helped them? No. We still have one of the highest rates of drug abuse in the US. So even if the cyber law, you say, somebody will spend life imprisonment, it will not change the status quo. I'm not against the cyber law. It's okay, it's fine. But the point is this. It's what we need to restructure, it's ourselves. We need to restructure ourselves. Okay, just like we're talking about, we need to start talking about behavioral science right at the tender when people are still young, right in their primary. We introduce it to their, education curriculum. We also need the clergy, the church, to come on board. These are things that should be talked about. The same way the church will talk about finances, will talk about this. Let them start talking about these things as a normal thing. Let's talk about how well we can use our social media platforms. Okay, some people think social media is a cave where you hide and then you can just bomb the country. For your own information, just our brothers in Rwanda, how the genocide started, it's not like it was ignited by somebody in person. It's because somebody went on media, on radio. Okay, of course, maybe at that time social media was not that there. Today we can equate that to Facebook. You can actually cause war just by you posting certain things on social media. Okay, so you can destroy a life. You can make somebody develop low self-esteem. You can make somebody suicidal just by what you've told them. And just because they've not said it, it does not make it, they've not told you, they've not opened up, does not make whatever you said harmless. These things do not end in the DM, in the inbox or your status where you've posted them. They will go into their hearts, they'll go into their minds and make these people begin to feel a certain way. So let's be mindful. Social media, much as it is a virtual platform, let us realize that the people on these platforms are real human beings. Yeah. And what you tell them via social media is as good as what you tell them in person. So if I cannot speak to you disrespectfully in person, if I cannot point fingers at you, if I cannot terrorize you, I cannot do whatever in person, why should it be right for me to do it on social media? So we need to shake ourselves up and realize that we are causing more harm than good. Social media, in conclusion, I want to liken it to fire. Fire, you can use it to cook. Yeah. Okay, to cook a nice meal and you're satisfied. You can even, use it for lighting, on a candle. Okay, but at the same time, you can use it to burn, to gut the house, to gut people's property. So if used well, it will satisfy you like Nshima will be cooked on fire. It will give you light, like candle lightens up the house. But if not used well, it will gut people's lives, and inevitably, it will gut our generation.
So is it like the word of God?
Well,
which can either tame you or
harden you, something like that.
I love that, Miss Mwelo. I'm not giving you this as your closing remarks. I know you need to say your first name before before you do that. But perhaps maybe you have an addition to what the therapist Darius has mentioned or stated.
I just agree with everything he said. Yes. No, I agree with everything he said. Social media does have the power to destroy, or actually it can benefit us. At the same time, it can be a disadvantage depending on how we use it. So people should just be mindful of how they respond, comment on certain things, because someone can be okay with you saying certain things, let's say in the comments, but in real life you find they get depressed over what's happening on social media, and that also affects people's mental health as well. So I agree with his point.
The humbleness, just the way you're explaining the things. I'm even wondering if we'll not be humble today. The Copper Queens, I don't know if they will. I just pray that they win, because if they're humbled, I'll bring that to you, really. I'll really bring it to you because I mean the humbleness. This is a Junior Friday. We need to be excited. So yeah, but anyway, thank you very much for having this conversation with me and a lot of people out there that are watching. I've been talking to Mr. Darius Chama, who is a therapist, and please say the name now.
Lumbiwe Mwelwa.
Say it so that they can hear.
Lumbiwe Mwelwa.
Yes, Lumbiwe Mwelwa. She is a clinical officer and a social worker. Yeah, it has been a very interactive and very, comprehensive conversation. We were looking at the right mental health conversation, and of course, as always, I've been your host, Blessings KN. Like I say, it is not $1 million question, but $1 million voice. Check it out next week, same time, same place. Have a pleasant viewing.